established rich coming right back at you. And today we got to clear up a lot of confusion because people keep hearing Joe Budden say podcasting is done and they not actually listening to what he means. Because Joe Budden is not saying people are going to stop podcasting. He is saying the era of big bags, easy deals, and platform money being handed out is over, especially in hip hop. And that distinction matters because a lot of people hearing him are responding to things he didn't even say. Joe is talking business. Everybody else is talking vibes.
I think that most of the podcasts are done. I think if you're not a top podcast, you're done.
Bro, yeah. The bubble.
If you're not at the top of the top of the top of this thing, then I think you're done.
Why?
People with names, people without names, huh?
Why do you say that?
Because where's the money coming from? Where's the money coming from right now? Whoever is looking to pump millions and multi-millions. Established podcasts that are impactful.
He wasn't talking. He was talking about.
Oh, no, that's over.
Remember when they gave Obama's a podcast?
Amy Schumer.
Yeah,
those days are over. They're only dealing with who is impactful.
You've already been proven in podcasting.
That's it.
That's
who's getting it back.
Yeah,
pretty
much.
Keep fucking throwing money around.
If you don't got an audience, I'm not giving you a deal.
Or you might have an audience.
But if you go independent, you can keep your costs down and make some money, then you can still win. Like, same thing with music.
Nope. People don't want to go independent. They don't want to spend their own money.
That part.
I've been telling Elliot Wilson to spend his own money for ages. He won't.
Rather take the check.
I told him to come with me to Everyday Struggle. No. He went over there to wherever he went. It wasn't Everyday Struggle. Who knows what he did? That Everyday Struggle mistake. What a mistake. I mean, I told him to his face, so I don't feel bad saying that. What a mistake. They didn't have an extra $4,000 for you. Brand builder. That was a portfolio builder. That was a brand changer.
Radio is beyond powerful. Another thing, even when it comes to podcasting, right? I was laughing at podcasting. For all the people that out there that acting like podcasting is dying. I don't know why they're saying that, but 2025 podcast listening is growing rapidly. More than 584 million people listen to podcasts in 2025, with numbers expected to reach 619 million by next year. Engagement is high. 34% of Americans listen to an average of 8.3 podcast episodes per week, and 83% spend more than 9 hours listening weekly. Video is redefining the podcast landscape. More than half of shows are now posting full video on YouTube. Podcasting is a booming industry. The market is projected to be worth $17.59 billion by 2030.
When Joe says the podcast game is dying, he is talking about the same thing that happened to the music industry. The gold rush is over, and now only the strong survive. There was a time when platforms were throwing money around just to say they was in the podcast business. Deals were getting signed off potential, not proof. Same way record labels used to sign artists off a demo and a look. That era is dead. Now, let's be honest. Hip-hop podcasting was one of the first spaces to get overfunded. Everybody with a mic, a co-host, and a hot take thought a check was coming through. And for a minute, it was. But that minute is over. This is why Joe keeps saying what he's saying. He sees the contracts drying up. The show's getting cut. And the platform stopping the build-out phase. Now enter Charlamagne the God. And this is where people think there's a war when there really ain't one. Charlamagne is not wrong when he says the podcast industry is growing. Statistically, he's absolutely right. More listeners, more ad dollars, more shows about sports, health, relationships, finance, true crime, cooking, and everything else you can think of. Podcast as a whole is booming. But here's the part people don't want to say out loud. Hip-hop podcasting is not the same as podcasting. Hip-hop podcasting is a niche inside of a niche, and it is oversaturated. It's the same problem the rap game got. Too many voices, same audience, limited dollars. Charlamagne built the Black Effect Network with R.I.H., and he did it the smart way. He didn't just build hip-hop talk. He built a variety network, multiple genres, multiple demographics, multiple revenue streams. That's why what he has works. But if you're doing a pure hip-hop podcast, the math is different. And this is where Joe Budden is talking to a very specific crowd. He is talking to the people waiting for a platform to save them. The people waiting on a network to come build them up. That era is done, just like it was in music. Record labels don't build artists no more. They partner with artists who are already built. And podcast platforms don't build shows no more. They partner with shows that are already popping. This is why you seeing iconic programs come to an end. This is why Ebro in the Morning just went off the air after 13 years. Not because it was bad, but because corporate radio and hip-hop media are shrinking, not expanding.
Told y'all a couple of weeks ago when they tried to run that Andrew Cuomo play on me. Remember that? And then they tried, you know, when the Trumpster got in office, Listen, man, I don't capitulate well, bro. Been doing this too long. If you look around all the major media outlets, look at all the major media outlets, man. All of them. Look at all of them. They all got to fold up because they all trying to renew their deals, their licenses. They all, well, in this particular situation, we'll get into more specifics another time.
Ebro himself has been saying this for a while. New ownership, no investment, and internal politics. This is not random. This is a pattern. Look around. Elliott Wilson, DJ Head, Jeremy Head, all getting cut or shifted out. Not because they lack talent, but because the business model has changed. Hip-hop media is expensive and hard to monetize at scale. Advertisers love safe content, and hip-hop is never safe. So when Joe Budden says it's over, he's not talking about creativity. He's talking about dependency. The days of waiting for a check are done. The days of somebody dropping a bag to make your podcast pop are done. And if you smart, you will hear that as a warning, not an insult. Because the future is not about who signs you. It's about what you own. Now we got to talk about why hip-hop podcasts are feeling this pressure before everybody else. When the money get tight, hip-hop is the first place they cut. When advertisers get nervous, hip-hop is the first thing they label risky. This ain't new. This is history repeating itself. Hip-hop was never built to be comfortable for corporate spaces. It was built to be loud, honest, messy, and unapologetic. And that makes it hard to sell to big brands when the economy shifts. When money is flowing, they tolerate it. When money tighten up, they run from it. This is why you seeing hip-hop podcasts and radio programs in. Sport podcasts are safe. Wellness podcasts are safe. True crime podcasts are safe. Hip-hop is not. Hip-hop comes with opinions, politics, history, and the uncomfortable truth. And corporate sponsors do not like uncomfortable truth. Now, let's talk about oversaturation, because this is the part people really don't want to hear. Hip-hop podcasting is crowded. Everybody think they got a voice. Everybody think they got a tape, including me. Everybody thinks they deserve a mic, but the audience didn't grow at the same rate as the creators. It's the same problem the rap game has right now. Thousands of artists, millions of songs, but only so many listeners. When supply outgrows demand, the money stops floating around, and the people who don't own their platform get left out. This is why Joe keeps saying what he's saying. He is looking at hip-hop podcasting the same way he looked at the music industry. Now, compare that to Charlamagne's position. Charlamagne is right too. But again, he's talking about a different model. The Black Effect Network is not a hip-hop network. It's a black content network. That distinction is everything because it spreads risk and multiplies opportunity. Relationships, mental health, politics, sports, culture, all under one roof. That's why R.I.H is comfortable putting money behind it. But if you a single hip-hop podcast talking about the same topics as everybody else, the platform has no reason to bet big on you. And that's not hate. That's business. This is also why we seeing legends get cut. Not because they lost their skill, but because the model has changed. Ebro in the Morning ending is a symbol, not an accident. That show was institutional, and even it couldn't survive the shift. Ebro was warning people months ago. New ownership, no long-term commitment. And when radio starts cutting, podcasting follows because they're connected to the same ad dollars and the same corporate thinking. The Bigger Picture podcast was canceled. Their cancellation sent a message people didn't want to read, and the message was simple. The era of building personalities on company dollars is done. Now, you either come with your own audience or don't come at all. And if you don't own your content, you don't own your future. This is where a lot of creators get stuck. They want the look of success without the work of independence. They want a network before they want a system. They want a check before they want a skill. But the game done changed. Just like music, just like film, just like everything else. If you don't know how to shoot with your own camera, edit your own video, fix your own audio, and control your own distribution, you vulnerable. Not talent-wise, but business-wise. And that's what Joe was really saying. He not discouraging people, he warning them. Hip-hop podcasting is not dead. Dependency is. Check it out. If you really pay attention to what Joe Budden was saying, it's not a funeral, it's a wake-up call. The podcast game did not die. The dependent podcast game died. The era where you wait for a platform to call you is over. The era where you wait for a network to believe in you is over. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually freedom if you know how to use it. See, the music industry already went through this. And any artist who didn't learn from that era is struggling right now. Labels stopped building artists. They started partnering with artists who built themselves. Podcasting is now in the same space. Platforms are not looking for potential. They looking for proof. Proof of consistency. Proof of an audience. Proof that if they walked away tomorrow, you would still be standing. That's the only leverage that matters now. This is why waiting on a bag is the wrong mindset. Because if a bag comes before ownership, you're already losing. When you don't own your cameras, your edits, your audio, your thumbnails, and your distribution, you don't own your future. You rent it. And rent always go up. Always. This is why Joe Budden can speak so comfortably. He owns his platform. This is also why Charlamagne is comfortable. He built a network, not a single lane. Both of them are right. They just talking to two different people. Joe is talking to hip-hop creators who think a check is coming. Charlamagne is talking to people who are willing to build something bigger than themselves. And if you smart, you listening to both of them. Here's the truth nobody wants to accept. If you need a platform to make you pop, then you're not ready. If you need a network to validate you, then you're not ready. The future belongs to creators who can do more than just talk. Because once you can do that, every deal is optional, not necessary. That's the power shift nobody is talking about. When you don't need them, they start calling you. This is why hip-hop podcasting feels painful right now. We in a transition phase. The weak models are dying. The stronger models are quietly taking over. And if you're willing to do the unglamorous work, learn cameras, learn editing, learn audio, you're gonna win long term, even if it takes you longer. This is not the era of fast money. This is the era of sustainable money. So when you see shows end, don't panic. Pay attention. When you see deals dry up, don't complain. Adapt. For the creators who survive this era, the next one will be untouchable. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Establish Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.